So here we are again, live with Venus, and if nothing else, I'll have a recording for it after, and I wanna also see if it actually picks up my guitar. So, hi, anyone who missed the first one. You're getting round 2, and can I just, like, say that, this is such classic life, like, you prepare, you do everything you think you're gonna do, and then you end up with whatever you get, and it's so important. Also, maybe I should have this up here while I'm talking to you guys, but I'm gonna put it down below because I tried playing a song a second ago on my other live, and you couldn't hear the guitar at all. And also, I was sideways because I was like, "Oh, I'll put my phone sideways, and that way it'll be landscape mode and yada, yada." Point being, you can prepare as much as you want for the things in life, but you know what? Life gives you what life gives you. It serves you up what it serves you up. And so, I posted a note earlier tonight or today, and it was basically saying, "Perseverance, I think, might be the number one ingredient for success." So, thank you, Robert and Deadman. You're here with me. Hi. This will be a little thing. Okay, hold on. I also have my daughter calling. Not ideal, but, this is life. Okay, so I'm gonna play you guys a little song, and, yeah, well, hopefully it works out better this time because basically, um, I'm gonna try to put the microphone, like, actually in a place where it will be, able to hear my actual guitar, and, maybe that'll work, and I'm also texting my daughter. This is you get the actual live Venus in her world, which is multitasking, being a mom, trying to do it all. Um, and what can you do? Okay, so I'm gonna sing for you guys, and, hopefully you can hear it because it said, "Why are we not hearing me?" And it or my guitar when I sing, and it was like, what did it say? It said, "You need to put it," it said, "You need to have it right by the guitar." So, I don't know if it'll work this time, but we're trying again. There's a special voice, but then maybe it won't even pick up my voice this time. Maybe you can text me, tell me if you can actually hear me singing and playing. And I don't know if I'm gonna be in the screen even, oh my goodness, all these things. Let's try this. There's a special voice in me. Can you hear me? Let's see. When life gives you okay, Dead Man, will you tell me if you can hear my voice too? Because I have it next to the guitar. Tell me if you can hear my voice and the guitar. There's a special voice in me. It's streaming from my star. A call for rising up. Let's put our ears to the ground. Showing us how to be. Oh, good. And you can hear the strumming. Wise, kind, and strong. A heartbeat saying yes to it all. If we listen, we can learn to live without fear. When we start to sing her rebirth song, I will always love you. I will never let you down. I will never leave you. I will always be around. Don't worry if you stumble. I will catch you in my arms. So when you take a tumble, there's no need to be alarmed. The world is here to help you grow. Pack worry from your mind. When you lose the one you know, others will help you shine. 'Cause being alive's just one amazing ride. And I haven't played this in a while, but that's okay. Being alive's just one amazing ride. I will always love you. I will never let you down. I will never leave you. I will always be So, there I am trying it again. Okay, we did it. We played. I'll have to listen and hear how it sounded, but yeah, a redo for anyone joining again. I see Jenny. Hi. I had to do this again because I was like couldn't stand that I was sideways and that it didn't pick up any guitar. So I'm done with the guitar, so I'm gonna put it up here. But yeah, I'm here again because I'll talk about some other stuff this time. And I was like, I feel like we have to we just gotta roll with it. You gotta roll with it. If this was anything if not comedic, um, crank up the bass if you can. Okay. You know what? This is the problem is I'm gonna use a different mic. I think I might have to invest in a different mic for my playing because this is a mic that I bought for podcasting and it's nice because it'll make any sound, it will deaden the sound around, your vocals. However, if I wanna be doing this and this, it's not really meant for that, or I don't know the settings for that, so basically, it's basically, like, cutting out 3/4 of what I want you to hear, so, but at least I'm not sideways. Uh, so guys, how's your life? Hope you guys are doing well on this Wednesday afternoon, take 2 of the Venus Live. And, I'll just sit here with my guitar and chat a little ways. So, yeah, we were talking about self-love and, I wrote this whole Valentine's post about it because that holiday has always sort of felt off to me, and I think it's felt off to a lot of people. I mean, it's great. You have your significant other, you guys get each other flowers or a card or chocolate, and you go out for a nice meal, that's awesome. But I think there's so many people and or times when maybe you don't have the perfect setup and all of a sudden it's a whole holiday that's like set up to basically spend money and then make us think that we're doing something for ourselves, but we're really doing something for the patriarchy. And so I think it always has just felt off. And of course we're humans and we're resilient, so we try to make the most of it and we're like and it's love, so we're gonna, like, make the most of it, and, being a school teacher, I think and my kids, like, that is the only element of Valentine's Day that I think was actually sorta nice is because you end up, being able to, like, the innocence of children, they just have Valentine's parties and give out a bunch of cards and make cards, and it's fun and cute. But I think for the rest of us, it's just one more sort of crunch where the patriarchy is like, here, let's turn the knob and have them pay, turn the dial. So I think that that's my beef with it. And I think that also I was like, well, we should make it into a self love day. Um, anyway, I'm trying to read your comments as I'm sitting here. But yeah, so I think that really just self love being this ongoing journey that once we as humans really take up in earnest the um when we take up in earnest this capacity and or journey into self-love and we find that it is really at the essence of being able to not only be successful in your life but be able to feel good in your life and that I wouldn't have known how much I was lacking in self-love if Finn wouldn't have died, and, I think that brings me to this place of, like, we lose people, situations, we have obstacles come into our life, and when they do, that's when we often are given the biggest opportunity to break open and to change and to grow, and, I was in the shower before I jumped on this live. I tend to, with my ADHD, like procrastinate. And so I knew it was coming up, but of course, I hadn't done any of the technical run throughs, hence why I was sideways. And the guitar, we still haven't figured it quite out, but it really, you couldn't even hear it on my first live. But classic me, I was like running around, taking a shower, doing everything but get ready for my live. And that I just was, like, laughing at myself as it was happening because I don't know how many of you can relate to this, like, um, especially if you're neurodivergent or ADHD, you just put everything off to the very, very last second, and it doesn't always work out well, but it ends up being the motivation you need to, like, get focused. So, um, anyway, point being, I was racing around, and then I was like, "Oh, I need to take a shower because I was like, I wanna oftentimes whenever I do something for someone else, like when I was a teacher and I would give a talk at an assembly or I would give any sort of public speaking, I tend to see it as a moment where I can become a vessel for something greater than myself. And I really see it as a spiritual practice. I love the saying, like, anytime, I think it might be out of the Bible, and I'm not Christian, but I am spiritual, and I do believe in a God universal presence. And I think, the way that I think of Jesus is that he was a being who came to teach us about love. And it all got twisted, as things do, and co opted by the powers that be and the patriarchy. And, you know, there's always been this grab that we've been under the sort of since, this patriarchal reign that has been, I don't even know, just for the last bunches of hundreds of years, just a bunch of co opted dogmatic control making killing people and making them pay and making them feel alone and afraid. And any tool used by the patriarchy, whether it's commercial Valentine's Day or religious wars. um, anyway, point being, I was in the shower procrastinating on getting on here or doing it up until the last minute. And as I was sitting in the shower thinking about what I was going to talk about, and I didn't talk about this last time, so I'm going to talk about it now, is the idea of kintsugi, which is, the Japanese art form where pottery is broken open and they place gold inside the cracks, and that makes it even more precious. And, for me, I love that metaphor, and it's often, sorry, it's a metaphor. I just want to make sure that I'm good. It's a metaphor that is used quite often, in the personal development area. And it's because it is such a beautiful metaphor for human healing and for, um, spiritual, being on a spiritual journey or a healing journey or personal development, is because we really do need to be cracked open. And we really do need to let our false identities fall away in order to become the people that we came here to become. And I love the saying, that everything is happening for you, not to you. And, this idea that you are having these experiences, and these experiences that life throws at you are really, they really are happening for you in the way that you need to be cracked open. If you were to not be cracked open, if the seed were to not be cracked, what would the seed do? It would lay dormant. We are the exact same way. If we don't get cracked open by the universe, by life, by the divine, we don't get to grow up new shoots. And so, as painful as it is to be cracked open, I love the metaphor of the kintsugi, the Japanese art form of being cracked and then placing gold, or, the metaphor of the seed being cracked open so that the light can shine out, the light can shine in, the seed can grow up towards the sun. And in a literal way, that is what happened to me in my own life. And it was really this thin dying, and it cracked me open. It cracked me open to remembering my abuse, and it cracked me open to all of my life being in this place of, in English, wait, I don't know what that means, but anyway, in my life being in a place where I would not have been able to experience the person I am today, Venus Faye, who is me, and it's a name that I gave myself, based on Finn was Phineas Faye Ingalls, so I took Faye, and then Venus. I wrote a post about this, but I had a dream where there's a very strong. I sometimes have dreams that feel sort of prophetic, and they feel like my spirit self coming. Um, that like that's how I get messages from the other side. But I had a dream that said, I was looking up at the sky, the night sky, and I knew I was receiving it in the dream. I knew I was receiving a channeled message. And all of a sudden, the whole sky lit up with spark, like in Disney, when it writes across the sky in front of anytime a Disney cartoon starts, and they write Disney in sparkly letters. My name was written Veritas, because my name used to be Verita. Veritas, which is it comes from Latin and it means truth. Veritas has been reborn into Venus, and it was like the whole sky was echoing. And that's cool. You dream like that too. Yeah, I feel like it's how spirit gets through to us sometimes. And especially because, like, I believe in reincarnation, and I believe that I have been around and I have had whispers and dreams of being in other places and timelines and experiences. And I think having gifts that were, maybe on the spiritual side. And so I feel like this lifetime, though, I was largely asleep to these gifts until recently. And so that was one way that the universe has always whispered to me, was through dreams. So when I got this dream, Veritas has been reborn into Venus, and I write about this. I told my girls, and they're like, "Mom," because I'd already had a last name change when I got divorced, and they were like, "Mom, that can be metaphorical," and I was like, "Nope, I think I'm going to need to change it." And so I like to think of, my friend pointed this out, like, so my birth name was Verita, which means truth in Latin, and I named myself to Venus, which is love, the goddess of love. And so I feel like I went from truth to love, or from like the head, because truth is more of like a mental concept. It's important, but it's sort of this esoteric, universal sort of concept. It's not necessarily the warmth of the heart, which is love. And I had to be broken open. My heart had to be broken in order to be reborn into Venus, and in order to like be cracked open so that I could become the person I am today, which is here talking to y'all and writing and making really cool friends on Substack. So yeah, I was like, and then, perseverance. I made a note about it this morning. I was like, I think the number one quality of what makes someone successful is perseverance. Like, that's why the tortoise and the hare, the story is such a great metaphor, because the hare races ahead and is like all cocky about winning. And speed and brawn, muscle and speed. It's like that's part of the patriarchy. It's this whole thing of like the strongest gets on top, the fastest wins. And really, it's about so slow growth. It's about the slow burn. It's about like more of like a feminist perspective, is like slow and steady growth, things being uncovered, emerging, this emergence of self from something a lot softer like the soil, versus these linear ways that have much more to do with sort of these ideologies of the patriarchy. And so I feel like as we enter into this time of the divine feminine, we are able to soften, and we must soften. We must crack open. We must find the parts of both internal, ourselves personally, and the world. We must find what is living in these systems that have been built for a certain means to an end. Like they were built for power, to an absolute power, that Roman saying, absolute power corrupts absolutely. So we've had an absolute corruption of absolute power for centuries, and it's decimated many peoples, and it's decimated the feminine and all the isms. Like we are in the crux of it. Like the showdown is happening. The billionaire baby boys are kicking and screaming, wanting to keep it up. And we're starting to wake up. That softening, that feminine rising from the soil, one at a time. You're rising, I'm rising. We're healing, we're cracking open, we're seeds. We will not be stopped. Growth cannot be stopped. And so we are here to be the change, and we are the ones we've been waiting for. And it takes cracking open, and it takes healing. In my last live, I was talking about that. It takes being able to be with that little child inside that was hurting, that was craving love. And instead of looking without, um, like Lyrics and Fire and that's his name, one of the writers here, we did a collaborative piece, and it was all about the fact that it takes courage. And I love the Pink Floyd song, Wish You Were Here, like cold comfort for change. Like we have to give up the cold comfort of having this patriarchal system, which was built for absolute corruption of the few, the absolute power and corruption of the few. And so we have to be willing to give up the cold comfort of those old ways and to be cracked open to something painful. Birth is not it's not fun. As a woman who's given birth 4 times, it is painful as hell. But, what comes out of it is this beautiful being, and so I think that we have to remember that we are in the birth canal right now, and that being in the birth canal is going to hurt. It's going to squeeze, it's going to be compression, it's gonna be dark, it's gonna be painful, there's gonna be tears, there's gonna be sobs, there's gonna be loss, because in that old identity, breaking open, dying off, birthing, you're coming into something new, and the true strength, those of us here doing the work, showing up, just like, those of you here with me right now and in your writing, I see it all the time and in the notes and in the long form. We are actually building off of a strength that is what I like to think of as unstoppable and indestructible. And why is it indestructible? Because it is forged from fire. It is the divine inside us. It is the spark that we had the courage to uncover. It's the slow burn that we had the courage to sit inside. And because we have the courage to be in that place of breaking open discomfort, we are indestructible. And so these rigid systems, like if you think of a building built out of stone and then an earthquake happens, what's going to happen? It's just going to crumble down to the ground. But if you think of a tree that's rooted, that also has living sap, living light, living quality growing up to the sky and immersed in the soil and connected to all the other trees, when the earth shakes, yes, some might get knocked down if it was their time, but the root system, they maintain. And that idea of the flexibility, the strength in the flexibility, a storm rages through, it maintains versus all the buildings come crashing down. So I think that it's a really great metaphor for these old systems and the cold comfort that come with these old systems, and being willing to, be in the wreckage, be in the discomfort, be in that awkward place of the birth canal that hurts, the dark, the painful, but know that have hope for the beauty that you're forming. And it's an honor. It's an honor to be here with you guys. It's an honor to, just put one foot in front of the other. I love watching your growth. I love watching mine. And sometimes it's frustrating. Like, I was so irritated that my first live was like sideways and that I couldn't play my song. Although I'm going to listen to it and be like, I still have to tweak the microphone for the guitar. But either way, I'm here. I was like, "You know what? Fuck it. I'm going on again. I'm doing it again." And that's how we do it. That's how you show up. And that if there's anything that I know when I'm like, I know one day my dreams will come true. I know one day that if you keep going, if you keep showing up, your dreams are going to come true too. And how do I know this? Because the audacity to hope, and because of the capacity to stubborn, call it neurodivergence, but to not give up. If you don't give up, that if you can have this growth mentality, which is, I'm going to do it no matter what, you're going to get there. And I'm going to get there. And we're going to have a little party. I told people when we all go big one day, let's have a writer's retreat somewhere really fancy where we're supporting good causes, each other, and things that this planet need. Let's make that happen. So anyway, thank you for joining me. Thanks for coming back to be with me so I could try this out again. And I love you guys. Sending you so much love. Bye.